since you don't use these platforms, you kind of created your SOPs, right?
My favorite one is Facebook Marketplace by far. Facebook Marketplace, the most leads and the best qualified leads.
How are you doing now? Right? That's a real concern, your health, right?
I'm gonna die soon and I need to leave this so somebody can manage it, or I need to remove myself from some of these stuff.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Investor Deli Podcast, where we bring everyday investors and they come and tell their story. And today we have Andres Martinez out of Fort Worth, and he's here to tell us what he's doing. He's actually in the co-living space, and he's an aficionado. I've got to connect with him over some conversations, over some calls. And then I was in Dallas about 10 days ago, so we got to meet in person. We did a little hangout with some of the community members, and just sitting there and conversating with him, I said, I knew this guy is that guy. So I'd like to present to you Andres Martinez. Andres, how are you?
Good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to have me here and to introduce me to your community.
Thank you so much for appearing. Like I said, you're an aficionado in this space, right? So just give us an intro about who you are and kind of how do you get into the game?
Yeah, so my name is Andres Martinez. I'm originally from Peru. I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I've been in real estate since January 2023. So that's what, 2 years and a half by now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years and a half. So it started from zero. I literally Google, how do I make money? And real estate appeared, and wholesaling was very appealing to me because I've always hustled and have side hustles here, small businesses. So the idea of reselling paper was appealing to me once I discovered what wholesaling was. So I jumped into wholesaling for a year, and then at the end of the year, I was like, yeah, this is not. I mean, money's good, but this is not what I want to do. I don't see myself building a career out of this, running this as a business like long term. And I was like, what can I do? What can I do? And then one of the last houses I wholesaled that year was to a co-living investor. So I was able to go there and meet him, walk it with his contractor, and I was like, what are you doing with this, man?
Yeah.
Because when we're wholesaling creative deals, we have to make sure that the buyer is gonna perform, right? So
Sure.
if he's not gonna make money, he's gonna stop making the payment. So I wanted to know, hey, what are you doing here? And he explained me what co-living was, and he introduced me to the concept. I was like, holy cow. So that was like early December, and then by January I found my first house called Living, and then we closed in February. Then I bought 5 that year. I onboarded one more in management, and right now I have 6, and I manage 3 for other people, so 9 co-living properties here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Bro, that's an action taker for you, that just makes it happen. Congratulations to you, in a short period of time to be able to make so many moves. Kudos to you. And being in Dallas with you guys and kind of start knowing the lay of the land, and knowing how Dallas is kind of broken up, the Metroplex, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Dallas, Arlington, and Fort Worth. And then you're more on the Fort Worth side. And then speaking to different people, Fort Worth is not an easy market to do this strategy, right? And there is some legislation on board. There is some complexities, but you still manage to get to make business happen, right? You have your ways to do it. And like I said, you built co-living systems, right? And you're managing them on your own. You're actually not using pad split. Can you get into some of that as well?
So most people automatically associate pad split with co-living. Pad split is like the 6th tech company that has come into this space. All the previous companies have filed for bankruptcy after a few years. Hopefully pad split is the one that is going to break it and make it, but they are having some issues as well, right? And when I was going to get onboarded with them, there were a few things that the rep that was going to onboard me didn't resonate with me as the way that he wanted to treat tenants, right? Like I had designed my layout to have 7 rooms, and he was like, you can put 10 rooms here. And I was like, but that's a dining area. He's like, just put a chair on the kitchen island. They can eat there. It's fine. And I had done my numbers, and I was like, I can charge maybe 750 to 100 in this area. He's like, no, charge them 900, and just put automatic booking so you get tenants automatically. And at that moment, I didn't know what it meant, but it meant like there's not gonna be a background check for them. Because when you automatically accept tenants, nobody's screening them. right? That didn't run me the right way. So that was 2 days before closing. We were at the last step to sign papers. So I was like, what I do? I called that I knew. I was like, hey, this is what I do, and this is what I want to do. He was like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing it, but if you're gonna do it this way, right? Do it room rentals, because he specializes in multifamily and student housing. So he was like, look, when we do student housing, even in single family housing, every room has a lease. There, this LLC that manages the other, that's just a way to get around brokering, right? Because in Texas, to advertise a room for somebody else, you need to have a license. And a tech company does not have a license; they're just a platform, right? So they get away with it with the membership, which is pretty smart. That it's the right way to do it if you want to do that, right? But it's like, if you want to just be safe, just do it your way, and here's the lease, and go from there. So that's why, I move away from not using Passplay. I've never used it after that, but I know some people that are doing really great with it. It's a lot easier to scale for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure that does pass split. If you incur an issue in one of your homes, does pass split on the back end have a team of lawyers, let's say, to conflict resolution for you, let's say, or that's something that's on you now, right? How does that work?
I don't know, because I'm not with them, but based on my experience, they supposedly they provide some legal service. But what I've found out recently is like they really don't. What they do is they introduce you to an email with a lawyer, and then, hey, figure it out.
Okay.
So you're on your own anyways, and a lot of times if that lawyer is busy, like, what I've seen recently of all these passports that got shut down in the area, uh, the way they get around kind of it, and they say like, oh, we've never been shut down. Is like they just keep appealing, and keep delaying the process, so they are tied up in court for years. So technically, you've never been shut down, but you cannot have your house rented. Your tenants are suffering. The neighborhood is suffering. uh, I don't want to get to that point with mine, because what we're doing is very rewarding. I have disabled veterans. I have people in security, social security income. I have guys who are 19 years old, like, first time out of their house. Like, there's some tenants that I've had to teach them how to clean, because they don't know what it is, because they come from different backgrounds, and that's something that we introduce in our management company in Los Rooms, because they are used to like cooking and leaving the stove dirty, because their entire life's been like that. Nobody's ever told them like, no, that's how roaches come into the house. Here's the video, here's the picture, you need to clean it, right? So having those conversations with people, and now that I've been doing it for almost 16, 17 months, it's very rewarding to see the guys that are still there.
Yeah, because now that you're in it, is something different, right? You're seeing it live. You're seeing their interactions. You're seeing where people at in their lives, right? And now you're encountering that you just need to have people's and see their daily activities, and people may need some help with that
Yep.
because we're dealing with people at a lower threshold, right? So you may encounter different habits that people have, and now they're cohabitating, right? So those are things to be mindful at. So it seemed that you're showing a compassionate side, right? That maybe a bigger management company wouldn't do, right? So I think that's important, especially when you're cohabitating and you're building somewhat of a community-based living. There needs to be some harmony there, right? And some room and some grace to grow as well, patience. So, and you kind of take some of that lead, right, as well. And then I know you've since you don't use these platforms, you kind of created your SOPs, right? You actually I believe you kind of went underground for a while, and you kind of like systemized everything that you kind of went through step by step. And can you discuss some of that and what has made some big differences in your approach?
Yes. So going back to when I bought my first house, February 2024, I was still working full time, right? So I was working, 50 hours a week, doing this, wholesaling on the side, managing the renovations, finding the tenants, like doing all this type of stuff. And the first one was tiring, right? I had a lot of problems with the contractor. I found out I had heart arrhythmia because I was not sleeping enough. I almost had a heart attack, a lot of money in the hospital because of that. My
Wow.
contractor stole money. I had to fight with the subcontractors because they wanted to break the windows and go into the house. I had to sleep at the property. I was going to Home Depot at 6 a.m., doing the rehab myself until 9 a.m., going to work, getting off work at 8, 9, 10 p.m. because I work in a restaurant, so I don't know when I close, right? Sometimes I close, but sometimes I'm let go earlier. Going back to the house until 1 a.m., sleeping there a few hours. And I've always been used to sleeping a little bit because even when I was doing college, I always had two jobs. And I study music, which requires me to practice. Right, going to class is not the important part. The important part is me being alone with my instrument. So that's what the doctor told me. Like, yeah, you found your limit, right? Like you've destroyed your body in your 20s. Like, chill the f out. It's like, all right, but I kept going, of course. uh Second one, third one, fifth one, and I didn't really have time. I mean, nobody really knows how to do this, so you have to figure it out on your own, or you have to pay somebody to teach you. And when I found out the people that were teaching this, it's like they just sell you this idea of like it's gonna be super easy. This is how you just call an agent, buy a house. This is my contractor that I get a cut from, build a house, and once we close, we're done. But what I found out is like the real headache begins once the tenants move in, because that has to be systemized. There has to be a process. So they need to talk to somebody if something goes wrong, and it's a combination of customer service between long-term rental and Airbnb. What I see now, because some days it's like you have to be on. You get a lot of messages. There are months where I don't hear anything, right?
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it was like August, we just finished closing this house. I'm negotiating the other one. I'm working other houses. I'm finding the tenants. I'm managing the renovation, and I gotta go work. So I was in every seat at all times. And by this year, well, so I quit my job in November of last year, my W-2 in the restaurant.
Awesome.
So I go full time in real estate. Take December a little bit off, but I was still managing a renovation. Dude, in January of this year, I slept 14, 15 hours a day for almost a month.
Wow. Playing catch up for all that,
Because
all
I
that.
got really, really sick like the first week of no, almost second week of January. My fever would not go down. Had to go to the emergency room, like when I was a kid, like shot after shot, ice baths, and he's like, "You need to rest." I was like, "Okay, it's snowing outside. I'm just gonna rest." And so look, the money keeps coming. That's what I built this, right? The rent keeps coming in, and I'm at a spot where everything is paid off right now. So I'm just gonna chill. And dude, when I opened my eyes, it was almost March, so I
Wow.
didn't do anything those days.
Dude, how are you doing now? Right? Because that's a real concern, your health, right? Like your temple, like you don't have yourself. What do you have, right? So how are you feeling now? And looking back, like wow, at that experience, what would you do different? Let's say.
It's differently. I don't know. I only know how to work one way, and that is moving forward. So being tired doesn't mean anything. Body aches doesn't mean anything, right? It's all up here. So and that brought me to the idea. Like, okay, either I'm gonna die soon, and I need to leave this so somebody can manage it, or I need to remove myself from some of this stuff, right? So I was like, okay, I need to find a way to teach somebody so I can hire somebody. And then that's how I start, like, okay, right after Squad Up Summit, because I bought another house around March, April. And I was like, I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna write it down. And I wrote it down on pen and paper, then put it in Google Docs, start making some videos, and I sent that to my first hire. She was with me for about a month and a half. The system worked. I implemented a lot of things, I changed a lot of things. Then she left because it wasn't her thing. And then I was doing another rehab here in North Richland Hills around, I think it was like the first week of June, something like that. And I was taking my construction crew to Chick-fil-A almost every day because they like Chick-fil-A. And I can get a salad at Chick-fil-A because I was trying to get healthier. And the cashier there was great. Like, you can tell like when somebody it's different.
Yeah.
And that brought me back, like when I was washing dishes at 18, 19, when I was a basketball bar back, like a lot of managers would be like, you need to learn this, you need to do that. And now I see it, like finding that thing on an employee is hard. Most employees just want to clock in, clock out, and they're gone. But not a lot of people have that drive to want to be better. Right. So I started talking with her, having some conversations, and eventually told her, like, how much do you make? I was like, okay, I'll give you that plus 500 more, plus you get free housing.
Whoa.
And I'm done. And the house that we were working, she moved into that one. It's literally, dude, she works here. You cross the highway, my house is 2 blocks behind the house. So I was like, you can still work here part time, but I need you on these times. It's been great the past 2, 3 months.
They're with you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So she's working full time with me. And dude, last month I didn't get a single text message.
That's
That was like, I was like, oh, okay, this works.
this is happening. Like your instincts were right. You identified it, right? You know, right? So that's awesome. Like, since you don't use a lot of these platforms that kind of do it yourself, right? That do all this kind of some stuff for you. What is some of your strategies like to find tenants, right? And how do you screen them after you find them, right? What's that process like?
Uh, I've tried advertising everywhere. There's like 17, 20 pages where you can advertise. The fastest way to find out in your market is go to Google, put room for rent in my area, like room for rent Dallas, room for rent Fort Worth. Look at the first 10 listings in Google and advertising all of those, right? Now, you may get some volume, but that doesn't mean that the leads are qualified. There's a lot of noise. The fastest way also to spread in there is if you use Turbo Tenant or apartments.com, because those automatically list everywhere. But I don't like using that because on my first house, I tried it and the neighbor next door comes.
Oh,
I got a notification you're renting rooms in this house. This is a single family house. I was like, oh, we're done. We're done. We're shut down. We haven't even finished the renovation. And we're shut down. So we talk. All sweet guy. We kept talking. Went to his house. Next day, I came with some lunch. I was having with my guys. We bought like the family meal for Panda. And he was walking outside. I was like, hey, Herschel, do you want some Panda? And we were talking, and he's like, it's just it gets hot, and it's a struggle to cut my grass. I was like, we'll take care of your grass, but can you keep an eye for me in the house? Done. So we cut his grass. This is in an HOA, so I didn't want to take any risk.
whoa.
So he takes care of the house for me outside. Sometimes I get messages like this tenant park, and he brought a boyfriend, he brought a girlfriend. Okay, thank you for letting me know, because I know that's not an issue, because I check the cameras and it's like, they were in their car, like. But that took care of the problem, and that's why I don't use Zillow, because if somebody in the area has the app, they get a notification like, this house is for rent. Hey, there's a new house for sale in your area. There's a new room for rent in your area, and everybody's like, room for rent? What do you mean? And then if you click on it, it shows like 7 rooms, 8 rooms in one house. So it's like, so that's how I hide from the city, but not using that. But my favorite one is Facebook Marketplace by far. Facebook Marketplace, the most leads and the best qualified leads.
Wow. So on Facebook, how do you stand out, right? Because you want to be able to kind of, people are scrolling, right, and looking. How do you stand out? Is it your pictures? Is it your script? What is it that you do to
honestly, I wish I had an answer for that. The first 4 months, it was the description. For some reason, I was getting picked up quickly, and I was like number 1 on the listings. Then after that, didn't work. Like, I was getting 1 month 4,000 clicks per listing, which is a lot. I'm getting like 40, 50 messages a day. And I was like, oh my, I hit the jackpot. Let's keep buying. Next house, crickets. I was like, wait, hold on. Because I ran test ads before we bought it and it was working. What happened? So let me change the pictures. Let me change that. Okay, it works. Next house again. What is it? So I go back to the first one. It's not working. I go back to the second one. It's not working. So Facebook is always changing their algorithms. You're not going to catch it. So what I do in the strategy is like, we put 4 different test ads at the beginning, and whichever picks the most clicks, that we stay with that one for the period of the house. And I think that's the only recommendation I have for people. Like, don't rely on one ad. A lot of 2 things that will impact your Facebook standing is, one is how fast you respond. So try to respond within 20 to 25 seconds, and pictures and videos, right? If it's clear quality, you'll have it. Also the wording, like, try to put nothing discriminatory, because then you're gonna drop off the algorithm.
That's great pro tips. What are your thoughts on furnishings? Do you want people like to furnish their own rooms and stuff like that, or do you furnish the whole place yourself? What are your thoughts?
Going back to my first house, same neighbor, right? This is after the grass. I get a message on Sunday afternoon.
Is this Herschel?
This is Herschel. There's 3 U-Hauls parked outside my house.
Whoa.
And at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm going to furnish the other half in case people want to do this, people want to do that. He was like, there are 3 U-Hauls. Like, who the heck is moving here? I was like, hey, it's Sunday night. They probably can't return it right now. So I'm probably going to return it tomorrow. But then I was thinking, like, if I'm a neighbor and I'm seeing that, my goal is to not be caught, not be found out by the city, not be found out by the neighbors, because that will be the issue, right? So I need to limit this. So we're doing furnishings from now on. So if the tenant wants to furnish their own room, we tell them to no. Like we furnish the room. That was one of our rules now. Before it was like, okay, maybe let me make an exception, but then I have to send a handyman to move the stuff to the garage or to the storage unit, and then the tenant has to pay. And I was like, no, we have great beds, we have great mattresses. You can try it, and if you don't like it, you can go back on Facebook Marketplace and find something else.
Bro, how you avoid people taking your stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Like what?
Like your furniture and your stuff when they move out, or that's not even a concern. It's not happening. That's just me thinking, right? Yo, man, I got a free bed here. I might take it. Or you have like a mother hen in the house who might be like, hey, this is going on, right?
It hasn't happened to me yet. I think a lot of it comes with the screening, because like if I rent a room to you, would you steal my bed? Right? I don't need to have an SOP worry about you. So if I'm renting to people that seem trustable, that have clean background checks, that have a stable job, why would they steal my $150 bed? Right? Maybe they take some of the wall art. I mean, we'll just replace it. Anyways, we take deposits for every room.
Yeah.
And to prevent that but I haven't had that issue at all.
So I hear you. How do you now? We're talking about that. How do you manage people, right, in the co-living space? How do you enforce rules, right? How do you engage in that place so everyone lives harmoniously?
So the way I tell tenants is, here's the lease, this is the rules. The lease is like almost 40 pages now, but you need to worry about page 29 to 32, which is the house rules. I need you to read that. They never read it. So there's reduced one: the clean kitchen, clean bathroom, and quiet hours. They don't listen. So now we send them a video, right? After the leasing, they get a video. In the middle of the video, there's a code, and if they don't give me the code, they cannot enter the house. And dude, 99% of the times I get a text message, or Blanca, now my assistant, gets a message: hey, I'm outside, the code is not working. Did you watch the video? Oh, I'm gonna watch it once inside. I'm sorry, watch the video and get me the code. Because now if there is a problem, I can really enforce the lease. Like, I told you here, you read it here, you were reminded here, you were given a warning, you have 30 days to leave. So the way we structure this also is we stagger the leasings. So when we open a house, let's say I have 8 rooms, I would allow 2 to 3 people that seem like the top tenants, like as a background, like they work close enough, they have no girlfriends, no kids, nothing, to do a 1-year lease if they want. Everybody else is on a month-to-month, and they have to earn the right to be invited to a long-term lease. So it could be a risk if you have a bad system, if you have a bad house. But my houses are really nice, and I don't mean nice as me as decoration, or we have the best furniture, or we don't provide TVs or anything like that. It's just the environment. When you walk in, and you can tell the tenant, most of the tenants are like, this is peaceful. And when, like, I relate to with them a lot, because I grew up in the struggle, right? Like, you don't know what is peace until you see it for the first time, and you don't know that exists. Like when I came to the United States, I came to Colorado. I didn't know what cold was, because in Lima, in Peru, the coldest it gets is 70 degrees. I've never owned a jacket. One, because I was poor, but because it doesn't get cold, right? I've never had a jacket. And then before the trip, we bought a jacket, we bought a hoodie, and I get out of the airport, and it's like freezing and storming. I couldn't move. I was like, what is this? Right? So you don't know what you don't know, because and the problem that I find with this is, like, a lot of management companies or people managing this, they don't have that way of relating with the tenants, because they're just dirty. They should know better. Like, they should manage their money better. It's like, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Okay. Yeah, you're making assumptions at that point. And who's making these final decisions after you prospect some members, some tenants? Is it the property manager doing that, or is it still you?
We are the property management. I have a different LLC that is technically the legal property management, and I'm the head of the company, but I onboard the person at the end. So right now, that's my role, the screening, because that's the make it or break it in the co-living. You put one bad apple, the house starts going down, everybody starts feeling lazy. Hey, he was doing it and you didn't get him out, like, because sometimes it takes 30 days to let somebody go. It's not quickly.
Yeah, and obviously that I can see that you go through a lot through your gut, through your instinct, right? You rely a lot on your instincts, right? So what identifies you as a bad tenant, and what are things that identify as a good tenant, let's say?
I wouldn't say it's bad or good.
Okay.
What we call them, it's a scale to 5 of, like, which tenant is going to give us the most headaches. And I tell them, like, look, we're looking for people who are headache free for us. So if you're high maintenance, if you're not clean, you are not going to like it here. So just don't come to see the house. and I will kick you out. And a lot of people think we're kidding because a lot of landlords, they do never want to kick tenants because they're afraid of losing income. I will gladly kick out everyone in my house because in 2 weeks I can have a whole new crew in there, right? So when they come and they start walking to the house, and the houses are clean, man, like they are clean, they are not dirty. So they walk into the house, they close the door, then they swipe their finger on top of the door, and of course it's gonna be dirty. That part is like, even if you clean, that part is never gonna be the cleanest. Okay, go to the kitchen. Okay, the bathroom. Open the toilet, open the back of the. No, you're not. We're not gonna rent you. You should be asking a lot of questions, not about worrying about that. And the more questions a tenant ask, the worse the tenant is gonna be. What else? Man, I have to look into my SOPs, but that's the two main that we find, like it's like it's almost guaranteed. Like, of course, you cannot read people, but the more questions they ask, the more needy they're gonna be, right? And right now, what we're trying to implement is a way to test their ability to solve problems, because sometimes I need somebody to change a battery, and I don't know how to do it. Uh, like open it, put the batteries. Oh, it's not working. You put the battery the wrong way. There's a plus and there's a minus. Oh, you didn't tell me. Like, you're 25 years old, man, and that happened. What this is a real example, right? So I don't know how we can test for that. And technically, we don't mean to discriminate, but we have 3-4 people applying for a bedroom, so we can choose, right? So, and I tell them, like, look, don't fill out the background application because we already have another tenant that is coming, and you're the backup. So when they come to see the property, they're always the backup tenant. They are never guaranteed a room, because that allows us to show the room to somebody else.
Wow. And now that you have numerous co-living properties, what is your tenancy retention? How's that?
It's pretty high. And this year is 99%. Wow. So overall it's like 95, 96. And there is tenancy because, for example, somebody lives on the 31st and the next person moves on the 3rd and the 4th, but usually the rooms are rented before the previous tenant left. So we do showings on the last week, and that's on my list too. And the tenants know, like, hey, remember when you move in and you were able to see the room before moving? It's gonna be the same when you move out. And there's no pushback because it's in the lease, and they were told and they experience it, right? And that's one of the issues of why we can't go fully virtual, because at that point when we're showing the room where somebody else is living there, somebody has to be there, and that's me. So on those turnovers, I show the rooms personally now, not even Blanca, because it's a risk for the tenant living there and for the person coming in, because we haven't run their background check, right? We're just relying on their ID to make sure that they can come into the house. But that could be an issue.
Dude, from the beginning when you first started, that you were sick and you was half dying and all that stuff, like, and you were spending your whole life in this, right? Where are you now? How many hours a week are you spending in the business? And right, can you tell me some of that?
Last month I did accounting like maybe an hour a week.
Wow.
I'm pretty handy, so if there's a small repair, I go do it myself. Like I said, dude, last month I've been watching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul over and over. I'm about to start watching The Office again, and honestly, man, I found out a lot of my hunger has died, and I need to work on that. I've never been to this spot in life. Like I never know how it felt to be in a safe space, which I am now. I'm financially safe, right? I have savings. The income keeps coming whether I manage or not.
Yeah.
And my wife is healthy. My family is healthy. So it's been a very dramatic change. Like, hold on, I'm not in the hole anymore, right? So I need to not motivate myself and go back into my discipline again, and like rethink how I'm gonna grow this and what I want to go do forward.
Yeah, new challenges, right? It just, you're peaking and valleying. It's like, like a stock ticker goes up and down, right? It's like an ocean, it crests and ebbs and flows. I think it's just something happened naturally in life. The struggle, right? It made a diamond, literally, right? You created a diamond. Now you want where you want to set this diamond at, right? So that's often. And what are the most common? What's the sweet spot for the co-living model in regards to rooms? What are the most common repairs? Since you said you're a handyman, you do repairs. Touch on that a little bit as well.
Great question. I think you want to stay to 3 people per bathroom, maybe 3.5. So, for example, we have a couple houses that are 7 rooms, 2 bathrooms. So there's 3 people assigned per bathroom, and the last room, which is usually the cheapest, is like, hey, you're gonna be half and half. So that's usually like, let's say on the second floor we have 3 rooms and 1 bathroom, and downstairs we have 4 rooms. So the guy paying the cheapest rent, he has to go upstairs if the one downstairs is busy, right? It's a small struggle like going upstairs, but that affects your living and stuff, right? Uh, but you really want to stay to 3 to 1. That makes it safe. I think stable. Uh, as far as bedrooms per house, I think if you are between 7 to 9, that's a sweet spot. That is a sweet spot. I don't want to go any more than that. I've seen some renovations that, yes, they work for co-living, but at the end of the day, we're real estate investors and we have to think about the value of the properties, right? You're not going to be able to resell an 8 bedroom, 8 bathroom to a single family later. So that $80,000 that you put into renovation, you're going to have to put it back to turn that thing down. And a lot of people are not thinking about the value of the house in 5 years.
The exit. What do you think about that en suites that every room has a bathroom in it?
If you're doing new construction, that's great. But for example, as we are moving away from private suites, because when we had a turnover in the private bathrooms this year twice, it took almost 3 weeks to find a tenant. And that to me, that's a lot of time. And it's because they cannot afford it in my area. So like if I'm charging for my private bathroom $1,000 and my shared rooms are 800, they take the shared bathroom. So if I rent the shared bathroom right now at 850, I struggle to find people. So I had to lower my master to 950, and we did a struggle. Dude. People just they don't care about paying having their own bathroom. They want to save money. A lot of tenants come, and these are not like bad tenants, but there are restaurant workers, fast food workers, Amazon warehouse workers. I have a couple of those. I have a flight attendant. I have a couple engineers. I have a nurse student. She's about to graduate, and they're like, if you take out the bed, can I pay less? Can you reduce the rent here? It's a fixed amount, right? I cannot do that. I was like, okay. It's like I have the cheapest room. This is the smallest one. I'll take it. So I did my third house, and we put 2 very small rooms to test because the house works. I mean, that was a great real estate. That's another thing that the people like. There are houses that you want to buy because they're real estate deals, and the co-living is just a cherry in the top. So if we make cash flow, we make cash flow. And there are other houses that you want to buy specifically for co-living, right? The house had 100,000 of equity built in, 2.5% interest rate. The PITI was super low. We can put 5 to 6 rooms, and I was like, if we put 5, we're gonna cash flow about 1,000. Let's put the 6 one. Let's split the master in 2, and let's try to get the 1,600. But we will have more turnover because these rooms are 8 by 10. They're tiny, right? And those are my best sellers because they're the cheapest ones.
Interesting. I love that. Let's go outside of the house now.
Mhm.
Let's see the profile of the house. Are you looking for houses on the corner, or does it matter? And what's the importance of the parking spaces as well, right?
Yeah, parking is number one when we underwrite. For me in Texas, I know this is gonna change city by city, state by state. But as soon as I get an address, Google Maps, if it's not a corner lot, we need to make sure that the house is long so we can park our cars in our boundary line. That's my rule. People do differently. I've been testing ads to rent a room for somebody without a car since I started. I still haven't found a tenant without a car. I have one tenant right now without a car, and it's because in the process of moving in, his car literally died outside of the house. So he's been without a car for 3 months, Ubering, but that he had a car. There was a spot for him. So if I were to buy a house with no parking in Texas, I don't know how to find those tenants.
Yeah, in Texas, you need a car, bro. There's no way.
Jimmy, but there is, because if you buy a house close near public transportation, like with Pat Split, they seem to be doing well, right? They are finding the tenants without cars. It's just like in my marketing way, like Facebook Marketplace, Roomies, Zillow, or I use a spare room as well, Roomster. Everybody has a car. So I'm like, okay, if I buy this house where I only have spots for 4 people, but I want to rent 7 rooms, I'm gonna have 3 rooms vacant the entire time because I'm waiting for that lead to call me. I don't have a car, and I even reduced the price to 500 just to test ads. Nothing. Everybody has a car here. I mean, not everybody, but everybody that is a lead for me has a car. So corner lots, uh, long properties where you can put 4 or 5 cars plus two in the driveway, and then if they have a way to get to the patio, so you can modify the patio, I don't have any of those yet, but usually corner lots. Corner lots is it's a good one.
Yeah. Now that you have multiple properties, how you plan to scale? Are you bringing on investors? Are you using your own money to source these deals and to make renovations? What's
Mhm.
going on that end?
So far everything has been creative. So sub 2 plus money on top to renovate and furnish. For the first house I had money to buy it, but I ended up using a PMP because that family, we had a great relationship, and they found what I was doing. I was like, we want to invest. We were about to invest with somebody else. I was like, no, come here, we'll figure it out. So I used my own money for the first one with their money combination, and then for the second one it was just private money, PMPs, private money partnerships, right? The basic structure, like they bring the money and I bring everything else. So I have scale only using private money right now.
That's incredible. I'm sure people feel comfortable investing with you, knowing that you have all these systems in place. So I just see you growing in that space exponentially. Just once you get out there, your voice gets heard more because again, you're just an aficionado for me. Just know what you're doing. And what are your forecasts? Since you're very market specific, you focus on Fort Worth, right? What do you see happening in Fort Worth? In the short term and the long term, right? There some legislation pending in Fort Worth?
There isn't one. I don't think it's going to get approved. I mean, there isn't one yet, and even if there is, I don't think it's going to happen. uh, it's sad. Code enforcement, the city, they don't care. Like literally when you get called to code enforcement, like what I hear from other people is like, just tell them to the street. Like they don't care about making people homeless, and that's almost the same sentiment in every city. Because I mean, the code enforcement guys, their job, but the city, it's like, tell them to go to homeless shelter. They're overflowing, man. We're trying to get people out of there, right? And I kind of get where they're coming from, because a lot of people they are just shitty landlords. They're terrible landlords. They don't take care of the properties. People are suffering. They see that these people have nowhere else to go, so they start cramming in like 2 3 per room, bunk beds, no electricity, no AC. So when the city hears co-living, they are thinking about that, so they go and bust you, right? But when they come into our houses, like, okay, this is a different thing, right? Fortunately, there's nothing on the way. So my thought is just don't get caught. Eventually I'm probably gonna have problems, but so far no.
Yeah, that's a blessing. Yeah, that's unfortunate, right? That you get boxed in with kind of bad operators, and and they find a guy who's doing the right thing, and running a business compassionately for people in need, right? So you want to be affected. And how would you mitigate an issue like that? Like, obviously you haven't encountered, but and I know you love staying undercover as well, which is very important. And what makes you feel comfortable investing in markets like specifically yours, that there's so many issues? Like, what make you feel confident in doing it here?
There's two ways to fight it. One of them is going to be the legal route, where you need representation and it's going to cost money, and then you have to basically tell the city or whoever is suing you, or trying to shut you down, that these are disabled people, right? And legally they cannot ask what is their disability, from what I've heard from my lawyer, right? So once you say that, then that now they are a protected class,
So
therefore
it
they
could be any disability, a mental issue, right? Which this is probably more in line where people are at, right?
Mhm.
In this space. Interesting.
So that's one way we're going to fight it. The second one, if we have to shut down, like for example, zoning says here you cannot have more than 5 unrelated people. That
Right.
is the issue, right? So when we buy houses and we end the ride, we have to make sure that we are still making money at 5 people, and that's how I define my buy box, right? So at 5 people, we're cash flowing between 500 and 600, which pays my PMP the return.
That
So
fifth room. So that fifth room has to built in the profit.
mhm.
Interesting. I love that.
So that's a problem. A lot of people, when they are justifying buying a house because, hey, it cash flows at 11 rooms. It's like, yeah, but you're barely breaking even at 8. Like keeping a house with 8 people is hard, because it's a lot of people. I mean, nobody wants to live with a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So
Strangers.
especially that's what I'm seeing problem in the password platform. Like let's say there's a password here and there's two more like within a mile, but they are having 8 rooms and you have 11 at the same price. I'm out,
For sure.
because they can move quickly. There's no lease, there's nothing.
Yeah, these people are hip to the game. They're gonna, man, let me go right there, right? Just makes sense, right?
Mm.
Wow. Dude, so you literally play within the rules, right? You literally being successful kind of within the rules, in the confines even of the family members, the 5 family members, right? Stuff like that. So dude, that's super interesting, and kind of how you still protect yourself, right? So you very shielded it. You build a little moat for yourself. Dude, you're doing your thing. So where do you see the co-living space going in the next 3 to 5 years in your market in Dallas, in Fort Worth, excuse me?
I have mixed feelings, man. Honestly, I think I may buy one or two more. So for the people that have been wanting to partner with me, this is the time to reach out again. I'm not gonna buy many more of these. One, because the cash flow is there. Like I have enough cash flow to survive. So now I need to focus on something that gives me active income, right? So I need to start another business. And we want to jump to new construction in the legal parts, like multifamilies, like developing multifamilies. The best way to do it is like buy a duplex, 5 bedrooms per duplex. You are fine. You have parking. You're properly in the zoning. You're probably going to make a little bit less cash flow, but from the real estate perspective, you don't have to worry about all the risks, right? Like insurance and this and that. And yeah, do the developments. So that meetup that we had when you came on town last week, I was talking with Ali and what's his name?
Brady.
With Brady, right? They want the same thing, and I was hearing them talk, and I was like, dude, if I could show you right now my office, I know exactly which lot you're talking about because I also drove through that one. So very interesting that they are already. So I'm not my analysis of the market is not wrong, right? They're looking at the same areas of growth, so. Uh, I'm not too worried about finding the private money because if you have a deal and you have an operator, money just shows up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I want to do. As far as co-living, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope everything goes well, but who knows?
Yeah. So let's segue into some let's say what you want to do. I call it the makings of a hero. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, personally and professionally? I know you play the saxophone as well on the side, So just kind of tell us about some of your aspirations, some of your visions and your goals you want to see.
It's a great question. That's exactly what I'm working on. If I can show you my board, it's literally like just putting ideas out there.
What do you have up there now?
Honestly, right now our priority is having a baby with my wife. A lot of my savings have been depleted in infertility treatments, and we are about to pretty much stop trying the biological way where we have to adopt. So that is a whole different kind of worms. Uh, so I need to be ready for that, just not just financially but mentally, and making sure everything is stable. So that is a big factor because I'm Peruvian, my wife is Korean. Given the whole immigration thing happening right now, it's very unstable, makes it incredibly hard for us to adopt. So do we have to leave? Do we have to stay? Can we bring a baby overboard, or can we adopt here? Make it really hard here for us to adopt, right? So I was like, that is my number one priority. So once that is taken care of, I can think of business later.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's family first.
Family first, man. You know the family
Yeah.
first. So
God bless you, brother. It's
family
going
first.
to happen, right? You envision it. Now you create it in your head. Your creator will create it for you. So God bless you
Mhm.
on that journey as well. So any lasting words you want to tell our people? Any words of encouragement? The stage is yours. Let's talk about also you have a community as well. So let's touch on base on some of that stuff that you're doing as well.
Thanks. Yes, my community is called Co-Living Freedom Unlocked. It is free. We meet once a week where I give 2 or 3 hours of my time for free for people can come and ask me questions. And usually we pick a topic, right? It's like how to find tenants, how to do management, how to do this. Eventually, it always turns into a Q&A. We can't deviate, but the recordings are there. You can find all my information there. I purposely don't have it on Facebook to make it hard for people because the biggest problem is taking action. People don't take action. You can read whatever you want, you can see whatever you want, you can have all the T's dotted, crossed, and the I's dotted. If you don't take action, nothing is going to happen. So I'm not saying like go create chaos and figure it out later, but go create chaos and figure it out later, right? So if you're coming to calls or you are watching material and you already know what I am saying or any other person that is doing this are saying, you need to stop jumping on calls and figure it out on your own because you already have enough knowledge. And like it kind of hurts people sometimes, but if you don't take action, you know how it is.
No, it's real. Thank you, Andres. You want to share your handles, your social media handles, so people can connect with you?
Yes, best way is Instagram. It's my first and last name, Andres Martinez _C. You can find my community in school. It's called Co-Living Freedom Unlock. And I think everybody knows what school is, but if you don't know, it's www.school.com with a K, and you'll find me there.
Thank you, Andres, for showing up and showing out on my latest episode of the Investor Daily podcast. And we catch you guys soon. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.